Hey everyone, welcome back. I've had 2 requests on the channel so far. One comment got deleted. If you want to repost your comment, I'll take a look at it and I'll do it. But the other one is still up, and it is make more Dark Elf videos. And my friend, you have come to the right YouTube channel. So, Mythology of Dark Elves, Part 3. So in this video, I want to talk about one of my favorite aspects of Dark Elves in general, and it is a little small detail I read in a Dungeons & Dragons book and the wikis, and it said, and I quote, "Dark Elves and their physical forms can take an infinite amount of magic." Talk about overpowered, but I got to thinking about it, and I thought about the Elder Scrolls Morrowind and the Living Tribunal, 3 Dark Elves that literally rose to godhood. Now, they were fine. They didn't die. They became gods for, I believe it's 1,000 years, and if that's wrong, someone can put that in the comments and check me on that. But the Living Tribunal were gods, and they activated the ability to ascend, and now usually when you ascend, you have to have a new body. Your physical form disintegrates, and you have to ascend and leave the planet, or, well, in most cases, and you have to become a god up in the stars, up in the heavens, what have you. The Living Tribunal, they did kind of change forms. They each picked how they wanted to look, but they kept their bodies. They did change it, but they are still in their bodies. Now, that's amazing to me, because since Dark Elves can take an infinite amount of magic, when mages are trying to cast, when mages are hit with spells, or when they're using absorb magic spells, you always have to think, well, if I take too much magic, I'll explode, I'll die. Dark Elves don't have this problem. Now, if I didn't love this race any more than I did, I'd love it even more once I found out this, is that they can theoretically ascend the easiest. This race can ascend to godhood easier than any other race, because magic is a very easy way to ascend. You just absorb as much magic as you can. Well, once you figure out how to do this in whatever way, maybe you find a legendary item, maybe you find a mana well, whatever it is, whatever the case is, Dark Elves can just, their bodies can just handle it. Now, theoretically, what this means is that Dark Elves will be able to not only use magic easier. They're elves already, which makes them a magical race. But if you knew how to absorb magic, if you were trained in some way, you could, as long as you use the proper techniques and you could physically absorb it instead of, you can't just take a fireball to the face, obviously they would still die. But if you had the technique to physically absorb all mana thrown at you, they couldn't be shaken by it. Now, this opens up a lot more than just absorbing magic, and yes, ascending is usually the end goal of a lot of campaigns or video games, but even if you couldn't do that, you could close a mana well, you could stand over it, absorb all the mana, and then it's gone. The well is empty, and you have taken all of the power from that. This could easily get out of hand. You're, well, walking around and absorbing every single ounce of mana you can, and this could make it so the very race themselves could become living embodiments of wild and primal magic and could throw it around at the other races. So you already have a group of elves that are literally, you even mention their name and the other races can get freaked out and scared. You now have to worry about the fact that their bodies are physically more capable than the other races, and this makes them even more powerful. This just, in my opinion, adds to the aspect of the Dark Elves are divided because they have to be. In Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls series, you have all the refugee elves, and in Morrowind, and what happens through Oblivion to Skyrim is the Red Mountain erupts, and then the Dark Elves are divided, and of course the Living Tribunal is punished, and that's the entire reason. And then in Dungeons & Dragons, Forgotten Realms, you have Wolf keeping the Dark Elves fighting each other. And I think even more so, the reason for this is because if the race was united, and if they used all of these racial abilities and things that they can just do in United, I've already covered this part, and I've already said this before, but they could just take out anyone. And I think this one small detail really should be looked at more, which is why I talked about it for the entire video. This one small detail opens up limitless possibilities for the race, and that's why I wanted to take an entire video to cover it. Dark elves can absorb an infinite amount of magic, and I think that's one of the best instances, is being able to exist in this same form that you have and ascending. So that is Mythology of Dark Elves Part 3. If you want to see a Part 4, let me know. I'll never get tired of talking about Dark Elves, so don't you worry about it. Subscribe for more of my content in the future. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Thank you so very much for watching. See you in the next one.